so long?
One more second. Just as I thought.
Oh, yeah?
There's a pattern to this labyrinth, and I think I can figure it out. Just as I thought.
What are your prime directives?
Serve the public trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law.
What's up everyone, Kaiju no Kami here, and this is my review to the first season of Sailor Moon. If you are unfamiliar with Sailor Moon, it was a manga series created by Naoko Takeuchi. She had originally worked on an action comedy manga story called Sailor V, which was about a masked girl in a sailor uniform fighting an evil organization trying to take over the world. This ended up evolving into Sailor Moon, which focused on a different schoolgirl with similar abilities who had to defend the world from an evil organization known as the Dark Kingdom. As the series progressed, additional defenders, known as the Sailor Guardians, joined the fray, including Sailor V. Toei liked this concept and turned it into an anime that resembled a Super Sentai series. Thus, they took what was a fast-paced, no-nonsense plot that never slowed down to develop its characters outside of its main heroine, and turned it into an episodic Monster of the Week series where nearly every character was given several moments to shine, including the villains. This was not only a bold move, but also solidified the franchise's name into being one of the biggest anime franchises of all time, right up there with the likes of Dragon Ball, Naruto, and One Piece. Besides its 60 manga chapters and 200 episodes, Sailor Moon has spawned a variety of live musicals, a live-action TV version from writer Yosuke Kobayashi, another anime series that is a near-direct adaptation of the manga, some video games, horrible hentai fanfiction, and was even planned to have an American live-action movie. Sailor Moon may not be the original magical girl, but she is certainly the most influential of them all, with a variety of themes and plots that seem to cause discomfort in the mindsets of many at the time.
Don't let envy ruin your beautiful face. Look at me.
Go away!
This rose can't compare with the beauty I see in your face.
Thank you, my dear.
That brings the question though, does this series stand the test of time? Let's take a look at the first season to find out. The Heroes. Sailor Moon is written in a similar fashion to a tokusatsu show, especially a Super Sentai one. However, unlike a Super Sentai show, we don't actually have all 5 heroes assembled until the last act. Kicking off the series is our title character.
I am Sailor Moon!
14-year-old Usagi Tsukino. Usagi is a selfish girl who will often think of herself first and foremost, unaware of those around her.
Not fair. It's not my fault if all the other kids always get to school on time.
She is also quite airheaded and not exactly the sharpest tool in the cookie jar.
This kind of attitude is exactly why you're failing!
30%?
That's right!
However, as we come to learn, she will go above and beyond the call of duty if someone she cares for is endangered. Sometimes even on impulse before realization and self-doubt kicks in.
That creep's taking advantage of the feelings Naru has for him!
During the first episode, she rescues a cat that was being tortured by some rotten kids. This encounter reveals the cat to actually be from an ancient moon kingdom, and she is able to speak like a normal human.
Usagi, my name is Luna.
She gives Usagi a brooch that allows her to transform into Sailor Moon.
Moon Prism Power! Make up!
In the name of the moon, I will punish. Oh my god!
What was? Oh man! Oh, I'm so sorry!
From here, Usagi will battle the evil forces of the Dark Kingdom, though she is not exactly an athlete or martial artist capable of pummeling the monster of the week. As such, she has to rely on other means of battling her enemies, such as outwitting them to even crying.
Sailor Moon, you have to remember that crying isn't going to solve any of your problems.
Oh. Never mind. She's also quite vain, as we will come to learn as she uses a magical pen that allows her to transform into various disguises.
Moon Power! Transform me into a beautiful photographer! Turn me into a
so sorry.
In the end, she'll either destroy the monster with her tiara, or heal those who have been turned into monsters with her moon stick.
Moon healing! Escalation! Refresh!
Next up is the brains of the group who likes to analyze a situation before diving into it, Ami Mizuno.
I'm Sailor Mercury!
Ami is a shy girl who would rather study than go out for fun. While Usagi instantly welcomes Ami's friendship, she also sees it as an opportunity to be a tad lazy since she no longer has to fight or study alone.
Things will be better than ever with you here. Right, Luna? That's for sure. Thank you. Especially when it comes to tests.
This can sometimes frustrate Ami, but she is too kind-hearted to say anything. We come to learn that her mother is a doctor, which is what motivates her to work so hard as she wants to be one too. There's also an episode where she meets a boy who has fallen in love with her, though she wants to ignore it since it will take away from her studies.
Thank you so much for saving my life, Miss Mizuno.
How does he know I'm Sailor Mercury?
Yeah, Clark Kent. It's not like you actually hide your face when you transform. Actually, on that note, supposedly that when they do transform, there's supposed to be some type of veil or shadow that covers their faces so that people around them don't know who they are, which is why in some aspects of the show, when Naru is standing right next to Sailor Moon, she can't tell she is Usagi. Don't know if that is true or not. I'm not even sure where the source of that information came from, but that's apparently the reasoning behind why people like Shingo, Usagi's brother, can look at Sailor Moon and not see his sister. Rei Hino is the third member to appear. She is a shrine maiden who lives with her grandpa. No idea where her actual parents are, but knowing Japan, they're dead. Like her home planet and Roman god namesake, she is very hot-headed and will often start a war with Usagi out of the blue, which many do believe shows how close they are. After all, true friendship is when one friend insults you, you insult them back harder. Isn't that right, you little brat?
Dick?
Well, the more you argue, the closer you are.
That's a good one, Makoto.
Shortly after she makes her entrance, she falls in love with a guy that gets on Usagi's nerves named Mamoru, and the two start to go out with one another. Sometimes I do wonder if Mamoru is a willing participant in this relationship. More on him later, though.
Now, here goes. Oh.
Gah! Are you alright?
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
Oh, alright, great. Have a nice day.
Nevertheless, the friendship between Rei and Usagi is quite solid, as we are shown with an episode towards the end of the series where Usagi entrusts Rei with the moon stick.
So Mars, turns out you really do hate Sailor Moon, don't you?
Jupiter. Wait, isn't that... I wouldn't hold on to something this important for someone that I didn't care about.
The fourth Sailor Guardian to emerge from the darkness like a lightning bolt is Makoto Kino. When Makoto is first introduced, we get to see her save Usagi from a bunch of creepy older guys.
Why, you!
Oh, wow.
This also leads to rumors being spread about her beating up people for the sake of it. But none of that matters, as Usagi instantly becomes friends with her because she can cook.
Wow, look how cute and yummy her lunch and dessert are. And the bag of hers is cute too. That mixed rice ball looks so good I can almost...
Who's there?
Makoto is my favorite of the group, as she is willing to stand up for herself and her friends while having the strength to back it up.
And just what do you think you're trying to do to my hero, Sailor Moon? Enough!
Wow!
Although, she is not perfect, as she will easily become infatuated with someone because they resemble a guy who broke her heart.
You're just exactly like my former love who broke my heart.
Just yesterday you said that Kaiju was exactly like him!
Come to think of it, we never actually do get to see this guy. So for all we know, she could be making this whole thing up. Either way, it doesn't matter because she doesn't pull any punches when necessary. Oh, and I love this bit here when she finds out Motoki, one of the guys both she and Usagi like, has a girlfriend.
She must be your girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Finally, there's this moment here where Makoto gives her best Yuri impersonation.
We were born to make history. We'll make it happen. We'll turn it around. Yes,
Our final member is the aforementioned Sailor V, or Minako Aino. Unfortunately, due to her late appearance, Minako only has one episode to her name, which is where we learn about the 6 months she spent in London.
That's when I met a young man named Alan. And I fell in love.
Wow, she works quick. But due to how little we get to know Minako, she comes off as even more dim-witted than Usagi at times.
The Weekly Dokiri? That's a photo magazine that does sleazy stories that aren't even true. They print anything, right?
The worst part is that she left her friends in London believing she was dead.
Minako was in there.
She's what? What happened? Don't worry, I'm here.
Which was kind of messed up.
I thought that remaining dead to them would probably be the best thing for their happiness.
Anyway, like with Luna, Minako was coached by another cat named Artemis. Luna's sort of, kind of, he really is but isn't boyfriend, as it were.
There's nothing like relaxing on a nice warm kotatsu, right, Artemis? Huh? Aww, he looks so peaceful there.
Due to the nature of the Guardians being in middle school, we come to meet a wide variety of their friends, classmates, teachers, Usagi's family.
A boyfriend!
What are you doing? That's not what's going on, I promise! You need to keep your eyes on the road, dear!
Well, that's a relief anyway.
And most importantly, her annoying brother Shingo, who is initially afraid of cats.
That's right, you're scared of cats. Yeah, I forgot. Here.
Stop it!
The most notable of her friends are Naru Osaka and Gurio Umino. Naru ends up becoming like the Princess Peach of the series, as she is often having to be rescued. This is most apparent during the show's second arc, when she falls in love with one of the Dark Kingdom's generals.
Are you overreacting because he's not a boy? I know he is a little old for me, but that doesn't matter when it's love.
Oh boy.
Kinda creepy, but still a better love story than Twilight. As for Umino, well, he starts the show pining over Usagi, but soon turns his attention towards Naru, and we get to see a relationship develop between the two when he tries to save her during a tokusatsu stage show.
Rawr! Redman is here! Hey-ya!
Redman? Did Tsuburaya approve of that, Toei?
Umino! Don't do this!
Take that!
Tuxedo Mask, he's trying to...
There's even a boy named Yuichi that starts living and training with Rei's grandpa.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be.
Fortunately for Sailor Moon, she was not alone in her battle against the Dark Kingdom when she started out. A warrior known as Tuxedo Mask would often show up to help her in battle, and he would continue to do so throughout the show even when the Guardians increased in number. We come to learn his identity belongs to that of college boy Mamoru Chiba.
I finally understand who I really am. I have been Tuxedo Mask all along.
Which is funny because Rei calls him out instantaneously upon meeting him, only for Usagi to reject that notion.
Hey, don't you think that guy in front of us kinda looks like Tuxedo Mask?
Huh? No, not even a bit! Knock it off! This jerk's nothing like him!
Mamoru's parents died when he was a kid.
Of course!
Leaving him to grow up on his own. Usagi hates Mamoru when they first meet up, as he is always belittling her and calling out her selfish deeds. In his defense though, the first time they meet, she did accidentally throw her test score crumpled up onto his head.
Stupid test!
Watch where you're throwing things, bunhead.
Sorry.
30%? Looks to me like you better study harder next time, bunhead.
Though I'm willing to bet it was the shoe that did it. After all, that's easily a shoe-in.
Ow!
Uh-oh. It's that stuck-up guy again.
Just so you know, if you have never watched Sailor Moon before and know absolutely nothing about the series, this section here is going to be a tad spoilerish. So if you don't want to know what I'm talking about going into it, skip to the villains. As the show advances, we come to learn that besides protecting the world, the Sailor Guardians must also find their Moon Princess. This leads to some hilarious situations when they think someone might be her, like this girl who looks like a female version of Umino.
Are you the princess we've been looking for?
Ah! That cat! It spoke to me! Ah!
In time, we learn that the Moon Princess is actually... Wait for it. Wait for it. It's Usagi.
You're stunned, I know. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
What's funny though is if you actually watch the original English dub of the show back in the 90s, they told you this stuff right in the first episode.
1,000 years ago, our moon was home to a great civilization. Queen Beryl unleashed the awesome power of the Negaforce. The Queen sent the princess and the children of the moon to the future on Earth. The Queen's cat advises Luna and Artemis must find the princess.
That's stupid! Really stupid.
And that Mamoru was her lover, Prince of the Earth, Endymion.
Unless I do something, the Moon Kingdom will be destroyed. I'm convinced the only way to stop this war is to eliminate Metalia and wipe out her evil energy.
Evil! The villains. There's a wide variety of villains throughout the entire Sailor Moon series. The Dark Kingdom in the first season has one sole purpose, which is to collect the energy of people in order to reawaken their sleeping energy god Metalia. They are led by Queen Beryl, who is pretty much as deep a character as the cell she is drawn on.
You still have not found the legendary silver crystal?
No.
Then you must search harder. The great ruler needs massive amounts of energy and can't be kept waiting.
As you command. No. As you command. No. As you command.
Sheep go to heaven, goats go to hell. Sheep go to heaven, goats go to hell.
The biggest moment of development for her is we learned she was in love with Prince Endymion way back during the time of the Moon Kingdom.
Why are you protecting this girl? What loyalty can you have for the moon? You are the prince of the earth. Marry me, and you will be king of both the moon and the earth.
Fortunately, her generals, the four heavenly kings, fare much better, mostly. In the manga, it is revealed that they were originally Prince Endymion's generals, while here, they are nobodies. The first general is Jadeite. Being the first general, there isn't too much to him. He tries to gather energy and grooves the people with monsters of the week and plots like a bat monster with a tape that drains energy when listened to.
For all the girls that get dick from Kanye West, if you see him in the streets, give him Kanye's best. Why? They mad they ain't famous. Goddamn!
So, this music stole the energy of that plant.
A couple of knuckle draggers at a gym that collects energy of its members.
Get to the chopper!
A cruise ship full of lovers.
Why did you two come if you don't have boyfriends?
Hey, shut up! We could have boyfriends if we really wanted them.
I doubt it.
A monster that uses floppy disks to brainwash cram school kids, and a creepy marionette at an amusement park.
I am the monster Murido.
Oftentimes, the monsters will just kidnap someone and impersonate them, as we see here in this shower scene. Overall, Jadeite's plots can be hit or miss, and he really doesn't have much in the way of character development outside of "I'll get you next time, Gadget! I mean Sailor Moon." Oh, and his attacks are quite plain.
I'll send you 3 pathetic kids to the depths of hell.
The second king is perhaps the most interesting of them all, a man named Nephrite. Unlike Jadeite, Nephrite uses the stars to dictate when a single person's energy is going to be at its peak and infuses a monster into an object that individual values, like a tennis racket, a drawing pencil that must have once been Pinocchio.
You can't outdo me now, Kazuko. Not as long as I have this pencil.
Or a porcelain doll. If you find porcelain dolls creepy, check this out.
Not this again!
This in turn makes the owner quite obsessed with their goal, enhancing their abilities in the process.
When I get the sense that the moment is right, I get up close and boom! I'm a photographic genius!
In some cases, it's kind of a shame that this show was geared towards children, especially little girls, because imagine what this photographer would be like if this were an adult show. I also am getting a very Gorma-like vibe from this monster, despite Die Ranger not being for another year.
You're too late. I, Cameron, have stolen Kijin's energy. Now take this!
There's also a few episodes with no true monster of the week, but sometimes just a creature made up of energy or an illusion. This aspect that really sets Nephrite apart from his predecessor is a relationship that develops between him and Naru. Naru instantly falls in love with him, because reasons.
I need an adult.
Albeit, her feelings end up bringing out the humanity in Nephrite.
Hand that over to me!
Naru!
I don't believe it. He saved her.
While Nephrite may be the standout as far as the Heavenly Kings go, Zoisite's arc is an interesting one, for his purpose is to retrieve a series of monsters that have been reincarnated into human beings thanks to a set of crystals.
Those 7 fragments are known as the Rainbow Crystals.
Rainbow crystals.
So, what's become of the 7 great monsters?
They lost their memory of once being monsters, and they have been reborn as humans.
Not only is it believed that these 7 rainbow crystals will lead the way to the silver crystal, but extorting a crystal from a person's soul will return them to their original form.
Good. Now wake up, Vina!
We do get some intriguing aspects from this, like one episode that leads Zoisite into a sewer where he gets chased by an armada of rats.
Huh? It feels warm.
It's a moving wall of rats!
As it turns out, the rainbow crystal owner is actually a cat rather than a human.
This time I'm getting the rainbow crystal for sure.
Wow, looks like Totoro used the Atkins diet. The designs are also interesting, like Motoki's girlfriend, who ends up being a rocker chemist.
I am Reiko Keita! Take this! Watch out!
While some priest ends up being a boxing angel. Oh, and this guy made the cut. On the other hand, Ray's grandpa was probably the weakest in the design department.
That monster's your grandpa?
The final general and Zoisite's lover is Kunzite. Sadly, like Venus, because he really doesn't take his turn until the last little bit of the show, he is quite underutilized. Thankfully, he more than makes up for it by being a true threat against the Guardians. He also has some great quips to boot.
Don't be condescending to me, you presumptuous dress-up dolls! I am Kunzite, a proud member of the Dark Kingdom's 4 Kings of Heaven! You can't make me yell out refresh ever!
Shit! Most of the time, his plots just revolve around having a human brainwashed into a monster, trying to find the secret identity of Sailor Moon, though. It does provide some fascinating monsters of the week, like a woman who trains girls how to be proper princesses. She's just a shell of her former self. A ski instructor.
Silence! My judgment has never ever been wrong!
I will protect Ray!
The previously mentioned Victor and Yuri.
Together we are Zoilingela! Now that you've seen who we actually are, we can't allow you to live.
And a paparazzi ninja. I'm sorry, wait? Did I just say paparazzi ninja?
First! What's going on here anyway?
We actually have a chance of succeeding in helping these people instead of buckling things, which is what happens when you come to the rescue and mess everything up.
Okay, all other arguments are invalid. That is one frickin' awesome concept. The animation and music. Sailor Moon is pretty much a product of the 90s as far as animation is concerned. Backgrounds are quite static, and at times you will see crowds of people who never blink if they have faces at all. Even the details in the character models are hit or miss depending on the scene, as a lot of detail is given to the attack animations and transformation scenes. While other times we will just get still shots during fight scenes. It's kind of depressing when a fight comes out to nothing more than a few frozen frames of action shots. Yet, it does give the show its own sense of identity in that regard. Still, it would have been cool to have seen Jupiter have a fully animated fist fight with a monster. Despite the overall cheapness feel in the animation, there is a lot of life to the models themselves, as all the major characters will have a wide array of emotions, especially Usagi, as waterfalls of tears burst out of her eyes and then occasional distraught moments.
Tell me the name of the person who broke your heart.
Motoki. Do you really have to be so shocked?
Adding to the emotions displayed on screen is an incredible soundtrack orchestrated by Takanori Arasawa. Arasawa provided an outstanding amount of musical tracks for the show that really amp up some scenes when necessary, such as this one here.
Who are you?
Who are we? Have you already forgotten us?
Artemis! Then you must be—
To this. Oh wait, that's part of the same track.
Oh no!
In addition, Dolly's performance to Tatsuya Komoro's opening theme, Moonlight Legend, may be the most iconic anime opening of all time. It is so iconic that even the original English dub from the early 90s pretty much used its tune despite changing the lyrics. Sadly, I can't say the same for Kazuo Sato's ending themes, Heart Moving and Princess Moon, as they are pretty boring to listen to. The episodes. While it may not be the strongest season of the Sailor Moon franchise, there are a vast number of superb episodes that outnumber the lackluster ones. In fact, I'm going to talk about my top 2 favorite episodes of the series, as both of them are done exceptionally well. Funny enough, while Jupiter is my favorite character, she doesn't appear in either of these episodes as they came before she did. The first is from Usagi's time as being the sole guardian in an episode titled Protect the Melody of Love. Usagi plays Cupid. This episode features a pianist who made a love song for his producer, who is oblivious to his feelings.
See if you can come up with a great title by next week. Make me proud. Mwah!
If you paid more attention, you would have seen it already has a title.
Jadeite has a monster creative tape that accidentally gets switched with the musician's tape, causing the monster to chase after him horror movie style. It also features a hilarious moment when Usagi enters a bar in disguise.
Have you decided what you'd like to order?
Huh? A soda float!
I'm very sorry, ma'am, but I'm afraid we don't serve that here.
Then water's good.
Not to mention she starts helping the guy with him unaware as to why exactly he doesn't even truly know what is going on.
Even old guys like you have a right to fall in love.
Thank you, I think.
It is one of the most unique episodes of the entire season, as it is bizarre as much as it is interesting. As for the second episode, if you don't know the show, I'm sorry, as it is titled Naru's Tears, Nephrite Dies for Love. Yep, as the title implies, it is Nephrite's final episode.
Spoilers.
Naru ends up being kidnapped by Zoisite.
Of course!
And forces Nephrite to give up a special crystal he was using to search for the silver crystal.
I'm not giving up the dark crystal.
He sacrifices himself for her, and we get some of the most genuine emotions of the entire season. Now for my least favorite episode, it is the one titled Usagi's Confusion. Is Tuxedo Mask evil? This episode takes place after the events that revealed the truth about Usagi and Mamoru. Usagi is depressed, so Minako decides to take her to some new hair salon that is giving away free services as Kunzai has taken over the owner and has her try to find out who Sailor Moon is.
This is a strand of hair from Sailor Moon, which I obtained in battle. I intend to find the girl who has matching strands of hair. Then I will have uncovered Sailor Moon's true identity.
It's a pretty boring episode that just isn't remotely interesting. Unfortunately, it's also quite important to the overall narrative due to an event that occurs in it surrounding Tuxedo Mask, which is even worse.
Roses have many thorns, and you should know that even red roses turn black when they wilt.
Every rose has its thorn, just like every night has its dawn.
There's nothing like having a bad episode be a plot-required one. Well, I guess it makes more sense than in the manga when Usagi's hair just started growing a lot. And growing and growing. Ugh. That whole aspect was just stupid. There are a few other bland episodes, like the one where Nephrite creates an evil Dr. Dolittle. And the Rainbow Crystal episode with the priest. Overall, Sailor Moon Season 1 is quite solid, even if it is far from perfect. The episodic nature of the show may frustrate anime viewers who are used to plots and no filler in their series, while tokusatsu fans will feel right at home. As such, I am going to give Sailor Moon a 4 out of 5 grown-ups in spandex. It is a great start to a wonderful franchise that gives most of its central characters a chance to shine in one form or another. If you have never watched it before, you know absolutely nothing about the show outside of this review, now is the perfect chance to watch it, as Viz has been giving us a solid English language version that has a new English dub that is just as good as the Japanese language track, so no matter which way you watch the show, you are not doing it wrong.
Even if you went out right now and bought us the finest haute couture trend-setting designs as replacements, I can't forgive you for trying to shred our Sailor Guardian outfits! たとえもっと素敵なお洋服をオートクチュールで買って返してくれたって女の子の服を切り刻むなんて許せない
Go check it out right now. Until next time, bye.
too.
I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I kind of like it when you yell at me. It's hot.